guys, we are of course back with another video. I feel very far away today, which is a bit weird. I'm not sure what's going on there, but here we are. So the other day I was thinking about a picture that scared me quite a bit a few years ago, and it was of course the picture of Hisashi Ouchi in hospital, lying on a hospital bed. Now we're going to get to it in a second, but if you don't know who he is, the basic thing is he's basically somebody who suffered from extreme radiation and was forced to stay alive for 83 days against his will, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now I'm not going to show the picture fully. I am however going to show you guys the picture at the end blurred out, and you've probably seen it in the thumbnail as well. I think I might use it as a thumbnail. You will see it blurred out, but just be warned guys, it is pretty graphic if you do decide to look up the actual picture, and it's very sad. It's a very sad case, and again it's something that shouldn't have happened, so let's get into it. So let's get a little bit of context into this story. So this was a serious nuclear accident that happened at a uranium processing facility in Tokaimura, Japan, on the 30th of September 1999. The accident happened because workers put an excessive amount of uranyl nitrate solution into a precipitation tank. Now to be exact, the amount of solution that they put into this tank was 16.6 kilos, which basically exceeded the critical mass. Now the amount that the tank could dissolve was actually 2.4 kilos, so they went nearly 8 times over the limit. And the workers weren't also properly trained before they took this task on. And I know what you're thinking, you're just as confused as I am, because I've still got no fucking idea what it means, so I'll explain it in simple English, I suppose. In simple English, this precipitation tank was meant to dissolve this solution that the workers put into it. However, the tank wasn't designed to dissolve this much solution. In conclusion to this, something happened and 3 workers were exposed to extreme radiation. This resulted in the death of 2 of the workers, with the 3rd worker of course being Hisashi Ouchi. And it wasn't just these 3 workers that were affected. A large amount of emergency workers and just everyday residents of Tokyo were also affected. A lot of these people were actually hospitalized, and hundreds of thousands of people were forced to stay indoors for a whole 24 hours. So these 3 workers were called Hisashi Ouchi, of course, Masato Shinohara, and Yutoka Yokokawa. Out of the 3 workers, 2 died. Ouchi was the only one who remained alive, yet in a very critical condition, after he'd absorbed 17 sieverts of radiation, and this is the highest level ever recorded in any human being. Now to put it into some kind of perspective so you guys really understand how bad this was, the Chernobyl emergency workers and helpers were only exposed to 0.25 sieverts. Now even though Ouchi was kept alive for 83 days, it wasn't 83 days of getting better and slow progression. It was 83 days of hell. So instead of being looked after, cared for, and taken through a healing process, he was basically taken through 83 days of the most painful thing ever, and this was all done against his will. So when Ouchi arrived at the University of Tokyo Hospital, he had radiation burns across his whole body. He had a count of almost 0 white blood cells and severe damage to his internal organs. It was also said that he cried blood and that his skin was basically melting off of him, and without the staff intervening, Ouchi was sure to die. On the first week of being at the hospital, Ouchi was subjected to many skin grafts and many blood transfusions. It's known that he told the doctors that he couldn't take it anymore and that he wasn't a guinea pig. His sister also donated stem cells to try and help him through this week. On the 59th day of treatment, Ouchi's body effectively died. His body was for most of the time just lifeless, and on this day Ouchi suffered 3 heart attacks in the space of an hour, in which the doctors brought him back to life successfully every single time, and this was all done due to the requests of his family. Now this wasn't ideal, as all it was doing was keeping Ouchi in an immense pain, clinging on, waiting for an inevitable death. Now the thing is, some of you guys might be thinking, oh, but isn't it the doctor's duty to keep people alive? And I say, yeah, that's true. However, the doctor's main goal is to limit the amount of pain that a human has to go through. Therefore, by keeping Ouchi alive with his body in such a critical state, and pretty much at the point that his body was ready to shut down, it is morally wrong that they were trying to keep Ouchi alive for as long as possible, as he was in such a critical state and had already effectively died several times on the table. Now Ouchi finally passed away on day 83 on the 21st of December, as nothing more could be done for him. So what are my overall thoughts on this whole story? Now obviously, as I mentioned, obviously this is the unplanned part where I just speak my mind, so obviously, as I mentioned, it was the doctor's duty to limit the pain and the suffering. Now, by doing this, I think after the first week, they should have known that he was not going to recover from this. Nothing was working, so it would only have been right, in my opinion, to pull the plug effectively, instead of keeping in so much pain for another 73 days or whatever after that. But thinking from Ouchi's point of view at the time, I cannot imagine how horrible it would have had to be to lie there for almost 3 months with people bringing you back to life only for your body to say, that's enough, I'm done. And especially on that 53rd day, 30 days before he actually died, where his body had multiple heart attacks on that day. I just can't imagine how horrific and painful that would be. So yeah, rest in peace, Hisashi Ouchi. And the scary thing is that this was obviously after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster that happened back in 1985, so by that time they should have known what effect, and I could be wrong, this is just me stating my opinion again, they should have known what kind of effects radiation had on the human body, especially at something so big like 17 sieverts. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've been pronouncing it like that whole video anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, at 17 sieverts, they probably should have known that there was no way out and he was going to die. Also using the other 2 workers that died from it as an example. So in a way, in conclusion, to close it all off, Ouchi basically ended up being the unlucky one in this situation. So that's it. That's all I've really got to say about Hisashi Ouchi and the Tokaimura nuclear plant disaster. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and if you want, like, subscribe, and maybe click that little bell next to the subscribe button to get my latest updates. Pretty cool. Stay safe, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.